Hi there, VIPs. It's Mark. Before anything else, I want to thank you very much for supporting me and Article Club. We're in year 9 somehow, and a lot of that somehow is you all, so thank you. I have an audio letter for you today. It's called Deeper Reading. The idea for this came a few days ago when Meta, or Facebook, or whatever they're called, launched their new Threads app, which is supposed to be a Twitter killer and which is yet another thing out there meant to distract us from doing real things in our real lives. And if you're wondering, yes, I did download it, and I gotta say it's fun, but that's not the point of this audio letter. The point of this audio letter is that there are so many distractions out there, and here at Article Club, we're trying to do something different. We're trying to read great articles and discuss them. In other words, we're trying to do deeper reading. And let's face it, doing deeper reading is not easy online. But I do think it's possible. And I was thinking, and I think it's 4 things or 4 steps that we can do to promote deeper online reading. And I want to talk about them for a little bit. So here they are. The first step is limiting our reading sources. Number 2 is choosing a dedicated reading device. The third step is compiling our reading collection. And number 4 is scheduling a regular time and place to read. So I want to talk a little bit more about each one. The first one, limiting our sources, seems counterintuitive. After all, don't we want to be open to a range of perspectives and a variety of publications? The answer is yes, but we also don't want to spend all of our time scrolling through Twitter or going to a ton of websites or getting lost in our email. I think it's better to edit and trim our sources and to allow people we trust to do the curation for us. And I want to thank you again because that's what you're doing here at Article Club. And hopefully I'm sharing with you an article or two every week that you find valuable. So limiting your sources, that's number 1. Number 2 is choosing a dedicated reading device. In order for us to achieve deeper reading, we sort of have to replicate the book reading experience. At least that's my thought. We have to hold something in our hands and associate it with reading. I could cite you some reading researchers like Marianne Wolf here, but this just makes sense to me from a gut level. And I want to say right now, this device can't be our phone, and it can't be our laptop, and it can't even be our desktop computer. Those devices are just not cut out for deeper reading. So really, there are only 2 good choices, I think: an iPad or a tablet of some sort, or a Kindle or other e-reader. I know this might be controversial, but I think this choosing a dedicated device thing is pretty important. I've been using my Kindle Scribe lately, and it's made a huge difference in my focus and enjoyment. So that's number 2. So we've got fewer sources now, and we have a dedicated device. Now it's time for number 3, actually compiling our reading collection. The goal here is to go and find great articles that interest us, but not read them right then and there, even if we want to. The goal is also not to keep tabs open with all our favorite articles, or even worse, to email them to ourselves. No, the goal is to try to build a collection of great stuff that we'll be excited to read later. And that's the trick, deciding on what's called a Read It Later app. For me, it's easy. If my reading device is an iPad, I use the Pocket app. It's free and it works on all devices. Whenever I see an article that I want to save, I share it to Pocket, and it's ready for me to read on my iPad, all nicely formatted. Now, if my reading device is a Kindle, which it currently is, I've got to do 2 things. I have to download the Kindle app on my phone, and I have to download the Send to Kindle extension on my internet browser. It's just one extra step. Then I can do the same thing when I find a good article. I share it to my Kindle, and it comes out like really, really nicely formatted, ready for me to read. All right, so that's step 3, compiling a really good group of articles that we want to read. So now comes the last, and I'd say the most important step, and that is scheduling a regular time and place to read. After all, we can do all those other things, but there's not going to be any deeper reading unless we're conscious about it and purposeful about it. We really have to make plans to read deeply, because otherwise it's just a few minutes here or there, maybe while we're standing in line or waiting for a friend or procrastinating on a project. If we're going to get into that real flow like we have when we're reading a book, we have to designate a time and a place that's dedicated for our reading. And what's great is that if we've done all four steps, then we get out our iPad or we get out our Kindle, and then we have this actual physical object that feels like a book or magazine to read. And we have a collection or articles right there ready for us. And then we can put in however much time, whether it's 30 minutes or 2 hours, into a session of deeper reading. So I think that's what I wanted to say in this audio letter. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you do any of these four things? Do you have a system or any secrets or tips that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment or you can email me at mark@articleclub.org, or you can leave a voicemail at hltr.co/message. And if you're interested in working on step number 4, I'm warmly inviting you to Quiet Reading Hour next Sunday, July 16th from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Please let me know if you're interested. It would be great to have you. Most of all, thank you for listening to this audio letter and for all your support. Hope you have a great weekend.